Guys, it is a perfect NFL Sunday here. Thanks for hanging out with us on Kingdom Kickoff. Clint Switzer alongside Noah Gronniger as always, and our main man. It is former KCTV5, former Kansas City Chief himself, Rich Baldinger. Baldy, guys, as we're going to talk about later on in the show, the Chiefs have been handed a potential get-out-of-jail-free card. No Aaron Rodgers today at Arrowhead Stadium. For those of you filing in, thank you so much for being a part of this. If those of you stuck out in the parking lot, thanks for letting us be a part of your pregame traditions here. Rich, this is a big one today. We talked last week about all the things we wanted to see the Chiefs do. They did none of them, but still get a win, and we're going to try again today.
Well, as I thought last week, it was going to be a slugfest. I had only given them 24 points to win that one, and it was close. It was right down the final wire. But defense showed up at the end of the game, 95 and 55, $45 million finally came to play at the end of the game there, got some pressures and sacks. And I actually saw Mr. Clark, Bruce Clark, get a club and throw Nate Solder, the right tackle, on the ground. I was like, where did this strength come from? Are you like the Incredible Hulk? So maybe something's lit underneath him and he'll finally get going. But yes, today we do have, with no Aaron Rodgers on the field, you got to believe yes, the Chiefs can do 2 weeks in a row. But I want to be careful. I don't want to jinx myself. So let's go through the show and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, David Bakhtiari still for the Green Bay Packers, their premier left tackle. So maybe that can help out of Frank Clark and the Chiefs on the defensive line. The Chiefs got some help. They got Frank Clark, a running mate at defensive end. Maybe we can move Chris Jones back to the inside, because as we see right here, the Chiefs traded a 6th-round pick for edge rusher Melvin Ingram, long time of the Los Angeles Chargers defensive end there. He was with the Steelers. He wasn't producing out there for them. He did early in the season. He is out there. So that's kind of what they were looking for.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think Melvin Ingram steps right in. And, I also like Mike Dana for us, too, on the outside. He needs to be on the outside. We all know Chris Jones needs to stay inside. Much more comfortable, quicker off the ball. You saw him some against the run. And let's throw that out right now. 2 weeks in a row, we weren't bad up front in the run. I mean, Gay at one linebacker, Bolton at the other. Those guys have kind of found a home. I think that they've really isolated what they need to do against a run. One gap, hit it, and explode it. So it's not – I think you cut down on some of the things you're looking at and give them one lane, you get a better performance. But up front against the run, better, showed up. But, there are some things we have to do in coverage. But we all know that, guys – if you're not in the quarterback's lap, no matter who you have there in the back end of your defense, eventually you're going to get big plays. Maybe Melvin Ingram can play for Sorensen at that safety position. But, he'll be good. He'll be nice to bring him in on that rotation. I've always talked about you really need 8, 9 guys. Listen, there's 70, 72 plays in a game by an offense, 50 of them are a pass. So you got to have that rotation. Nobody's going to rush the passer 50 times a game and be effective at the end. So Chiefs have got to do it, got to find a way to help. And Melvin Ingram stepping in right now can't hurt us from where we were at and where we're going to.
Baldy, we talked about the Chiefs getting a proverbial get-out-of-jail-free card, or in this case, a golden ticket from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We see Aaron Rodgers, of course, down with COVID, probably would be playing, but Rodgers is unvaccinated. He took to the media and had some really poignant things, a lot of things that I kind of tended to agree with regards to the NFL and the protocols and vaccines and things like that. But beyond that, the Chiefs are going to get a look at Jordan Love for the first time. This is the first time this is a former first-round pick. This is the heir apparent. How do the Chiefs play against this quarterback? Because I think that given his running ability, we know that coming out of Utah State, how the Chiefs defensively going to play against this. You know what you get from Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. This is kind of a mixed bag. And, I think he can still present some problems. And like we talked at the onset, this is no sure thing for this Kansas City Chiefs team, is it?
No, it's not. But the one thing and why I brought the point up as we started the show is about the run defense. You got to admit, 2 weeks in a row, we've done some goods. Now, today they want to run Jones and Dillon at that running back position. I think between the two of them, they got close to about 900 yards rushing. So you were thinking we've got a young quarterback in there. We all know you don't get any reps during the week, even though he's had all this week to practice some. Still, it's going to be an issue. So going into this game, we were better against the run. You just had to put 8 men in the box, and you got to force Love to throw the football down the field. Let's see what he's all about. Bring the blitz, bring the heat, bring it often, because you got to force this guy to have to react and see things. And we all know, standing on the sidelines, I don't care how much film study you do, how much do you cross those white lines and play in the game, you know there's going to be a learning curve. I think we can take advantage of him just from some inexperience, and I think that will help us in victory today.
Yeah, we're continuing to see mistakes out of Dan Sorensen, Ben Neiman at those spots. What do you think it is that they maybe have on the Chiefs, or why the Chiefs are just unwilling to move off them? Even when the media asks about them, they're like, no, they know what they're doing. They're veterans in this system. I mean, we got Armani Watts, we have Dorian O'Daniel at safety and linebacker that are backing up these guys. And if they're telling me that they're worse than Dan Sorensen and Ben Neiman, then how are they in the NFL?
I don't understand
Dave
Dan
Toad.
Sorensen, but he's been a liability for us. Listen, I love them when they go to that nickel or dime and they put him in at the linebacker position, especially a dime. I would say go dime defense, put him in as the inside linebacker and let him do his thing. Don't make him cover, because that's what's been an issue. It's been an issue for him since he's been here, whether it be linebacker, running back, wide receiver. It's just not there. So I don't understand why Coach Spagnuolo wants to put him in positions like that. Teams isolate. They're going to get him on that slot receiver. And, whether it's a deep crossing pattern, a curl pattern, whatever, Sorensen just doesn't come off the break and cover well. So it is an issue. Hopefully, maybe with Melvin Ingram coming in there, we can do some things. Him on the outside, we can put people in different positions and maybe, shore up that. But that's part of the issue with this defense, guys. We talked about it the last couple of weeks. Going in the offseason, you're going to have to go get help at the safety position for the Kansas City Chiefs and cornerback, because right now where we're at, I don't think the athleticism is there. You got to have guys that can turn and run anymore. With the way these receivers run and get vertical, if they can't flip their hips and go, you're standing in quicksand and they're running right by you.
Baldy, we know we got some roster issues. You're touching on them right there, but just looking at it big picture here, the AFC, there's some shocking results kind of going on right now. You've got the Raiders trailing the Giants in the fourth quarter here. We saw the Chargers go down last week to the New England Patriots. The Broncos lead the Cowboys 19-0 right now, which is kind of shocking. And we don't know how these are going to hold, guys. These games will be over about the time the show ends. But regardless of that, you see the Ravens have been trailing all day to the Minnesota Vikings. So with that, what I'm getting at here, Rich, is the AFC is begging the Kansas City Chiefs to get right and to be back to their dominant selves. The question is, psychologically, can the Chiefs get back there? We see Patrick Mahomes and the body language. You see Travis Kelce and the body language. You see guys that look in the eye, maybe the hunger, the eye of the tiger, whatever you want to call it, hasn't been there. How do the Chiefs get back to that level that we've been so used to seeing the last 2 years? I don't even think they have to do that to win this division or get in the playoffs, but they've got to do something, because these teams are begging the Chiefs to do it.
Well, I just think that they need to play with what the defense gives them. They have to, Patrick keeps saying it week in, week out. The first couple of years, it was all roses, everything was perfect. Anytime you put the ball in the air, it was a big catch. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think these guys all are learning one thing. You can't do any more than what you can do on the field. All the issues with the turnovers are because guys are trying to do more, turning their head before they control the football. After trying to get extra yards, not taking care of the little things, high and tight with the football. So you have fumbled by Kelce. Patrick Mahomes, you have to understand, you got to trust your blockers. Find the void in the pocket. You're not going to be able to scramble every time. Listen, they're spying him every time. They're sitting on him. And once he commits the run, then they bring the heat on him. And so he has got to understand you've got to get to the void. We were early in the game. Nice job of checking down the running backs, receivers. Get the ball out of your hands. Let them have it. If it's not going to be a big game, it's okay. But I think what Patrick is doing, especially Patrick, he has got to understand that he's going to only get few choices now. In the first couple of years, he had a lot of options to go down the field. You're not going to get him. So when you do get him, you got to make sure you're right. But the only way you're going to get right is doing the little things, playing and play out. If it means getting rid of the ball quicker, fine. Don't take the big hit. Scramble when you have to. Get out of bounds, that's fine. but let's just get into a rhythm. Too many times we weren't out. We have 4 punts in the game, and it looked like sometimes offensively, it's like, who's calling the plays? What is Andy doing here? All of a sudden, we look like we're in a system, and then we come out, and then in the next series, it's like, oh my, it looks like me on an algebra test. There's just red lines everywhere. It's ugly. So, I just wish that these guys would understand that, what, this is the way it is. The NFL is not going to give you the options all the time. There's going to be a few times where you can get Tyreek down the middle between those safeties. When you do, you hit them. If not, take what they give you, screen, short passing. Running game was good last week. It's okay. We keep winning. You'll be right back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you kind of where Andy's responsibility lies in this. You mentioned the running game did well last week. We saw what Derek Gore was able to do on a whole drive, getting down the field, scoring a touchdown. And then they went away from the run game. They went away from Derek Gore. We saw Darrell Williams in there. It's like Andy Reid, he just cannot commit to running the football. He's got to go back to the passing game. That allure is there, especially with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. The running game was working. Derek Gore was catching fire, and we went away from it. Just what kind of responsibility does Andy Reid have for that in the play calling?
It's frustrating. I'm not, with Andy, I'll keep the words to myself that I was saying during the game.
No, tell us.
We were smash mouth last week. I mean, guys, we came out, we were lighting people up. I mean, we were rolling. Trey Smith over there at the right guard was a couple of those crap plays. I mean, there were helmets, there were heads flying off. And you got to love that. That's the attitude you want. I just wish that Andy, within sometimes of this pass game, infer the running game. How about a quick trap? When guys are coming up the field so quick, help out your offensive line. Give them a chance. Give them an option. Maybe run a quick pitch when you're thinking it's 3rd and long. Just do something different to counter their attitude. Because, listen, those guys, Giants, they kick it after the quarterback. And too many times, I will give the offensive line credit, run blocking, but pass protection, when 3 get to the quarterback, that ain't good. You come to the sidelines, you're going to get some ass chewing. Believe me, I'm going to be in your face. So they didn't do too well on some things, and it kind of got Patrick out of the rhythm, and he's trying to force the ball. So all the components have to understand one thing, guys. You can never do more than what your job title says you are, and that's it. Leave it. You try to start thinking to do anything else, and you are going to implode. So hopefully this week against Green Bay, with a quarterback that's unknown, just do what you're told. Even if it's 24-50, whatever the score, as long as we're on the winning side, that's all that matters.
Rich, I don't know if those of our viewers and our listeners and our followers are aware, but what a complete football team looks like. But regardless of no Aaron Rodgers today, this is a complete football team for the Green Bay Packers. This is a top 10 defense, only giving up 331 yards a game. I love what they do up front, specifically the front 4. Kenny Clark at defensive tackle, 5 sacks from that defensive tackle position. We used to have a guy named Chris Jones that presented similar problems to offenses. But with that being said, knowing that the Packers do present problems and are a very solid NFL defense, kind of piggybacking off Noah's previous question, how do you think the Chiefs are going to attack this defense today? Are you going to start seeing more patience? Are you going to start seeing Patrick take more checkdowns? Are you going to see a committed team to the run game? Are they going to be able to be patient enough to do it the way that defense is giving it? Because all they're going to have to do is put it on film for a game or two, and the safeties are going to come up a little bit, and they're going to have to start trying to stop the run. And then it's going to open it up. That's only going to take a game or two to get back to playing that chess match. How do they do it today?
Well, first of all, you got to take care of Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith on the outside, but when they're in the 4-man front. Linebacker Rashawn Gary came from Michigan, defensive lineman, doing an unbelievable job. I mean, he can turn the corner quickly. Preston Smith is just a monster. Guy's feet never stop. So it's a challenge for both of our tackles today up front. They've got to have a game, or else it could be a long afternoon. But again, I just think you go back to what you do well. I mean, we were effective running the counter. The inside zone play. Mix it up. We can do all. These are very athletic guys we've got up front. Pull, trap, do a little bit of everything. The toss, sweep. Keep that defense challenged. And as long as these guys are going to play a deep cover 2, where those safeties are sitting in nickel seat, you got to run the ball. But I think Andy's got to continue to work the edges also too. If these corners are going to come off because they don't have safety help, or they're trying to play that layer look so they can take away the crossing patterns, just bring people in motion, hit the quick slants on the outside, or hit people coming out of the backfield on the edges, force the defense to have to go side to side, or corners to come up and play a little bit more. If you can do that and complement the run, I think eventually you're going to get those safeties out of position. But I'm going to tell you one thing, though. Patrick last week was 0 for 9 on vertical routes. And he had Tyreek, and he overthrew him. The week before, he had Pringle open for a touchdown, and he overthrew him. So Patrick needs to get better, too, in his verticality. He's not been very good accuracy-wise. I think some of the other ones, you see in the movement behind the receiver sometimes. So Patrick also, too, needs to elevate his game. I know that's impossible to say it's Patrick Mahomes, but you know what? The last couple weeks, I think we've all been a little frustrated with his throwing. So everyone do what you can well. And I think Andy Reid just incorporates some of that run game during when you think it's a pass down. I think then you really force that defense to have to count for both sides of the ball. If not, they just tee off, and you saw that with the Giants. They'll get pressure with 3 people.
Yeah, and you wonder if Patrick's thinking like they're playing this too deep shell, it's not going to be there, and then when it is, he's almost surprised by it, and it's like, can I do this? Is that really what I'm seeing down there? And so.
And I think if you can get some type of run game, and
Sure.
maybe you get anything going balanced, you know what's going to happen? Those cover 2 safeties, you see them, they're outside the hash marks. Now, there's only one receiver in the National Football League that can run that post route and split those safeties before they come back together, and that's a guy by the name of Tyreek Hill. You're going to get a chance. You know, in the first couple of years, we were getting 2 or 3 shots a game, probably maybe 4 shots a game. Now you may get 1, and that's when you got to be able to hit it. So it's going to be there. Eventually, every defense has to commit, will rotate the wrong way, and you're going to get that mismatch. That's the people we have in Kelsey and Tyreek, because they know, defenses know that we can never be wrong. If we're wrong, it's probably 7 for the Chiefs. Hopefully today we'll take advantage. Have the patience. It will show up. Eventually, it will be there. If it does, you do the right things. It's a big play for the Chiefs.
And let's look some more at those keys to success. Rich's keys to success to come away with the victory today against the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. And here we go.
Yeah, guys, I think, on the offense, listen, it's been week in and week out. We can talk about all the mismatches, where we think we can win, the type of motions and movements. But you know what? When you're turning the football over, it proved to almost cost the Chiefs another home game against the Giants. So you got to start there. Got to protect the football, without a doubt. We're at minus 16 on the year, minus 17. Yeah. You know what? Every year we've gone to the playoffs, we've been plus. So, that's going to be a factor against us. And then listen, on the other side, we just can't have blown coverage. Blitz Jordan Love every time you can. Locate 17 and 13 because they're good. They're key factors. But I think without a doubt, whatever blitzes you bring, make them complicated. Walk people up in the A gap. Bring pressure on the outside. Make Love have to identify the defense before. Make his eyes be going and his head turning. Freeze his feet, because is it coming from the outside? Is it a safety blitz? Is it a corner blitz? Are they taking the A gap? Are we getting twist in the middle? Whatever it is, just make him have to think an extra second. And that will slow up his feet, maybe getting those drop. We can get pressure and sacks. And hopefully today, a turnover in defense that leads to points again.
Well, these next 3 games, guys, I believe are going to determine the outcome of this season. We've got 2 out of the next 3 at home. I think it's 4 out of the next 5 at home, even after the Giants game last week. We're talking about, obviously, today against the Packers, and coming up, you got a game against the Las Vegas Raiders that's going to be huge in Vegas next week. And then back home against the Dallas Cowboys, who are trailing the Denver Broncos right now, 19-0. Looks like Denver's going to actually win that game. So to me, this stretch is so pivotal, and it starts today. It starts at 3:25 p.m. at Arrowhead Stadium, guys. And so prediction-wise, Noah, I'm going to start with you, because I got to see where you're going to go, and then I'm just going to flip-flop and maybe pick the opposite. I don't know. I got to hear what you got to say first, man. Let's hear it.
I think the Chiefs are going to sneak out of Arrowhead with a victory today. 23-21. Jordan Love gets them in long field goal range at the end. 58-yard field goals just slightly missed by Mason Crosby. And so the Chiefs sneak away with a victory, 23-21.
Rich, what do you think? You on board with that?
I think without a doubt, I think the Chiefs come away with victory today. I'm going to go ahead and go with 21-14. I think our defense finds a way to get pressure. I think we find a way to get this Green Bay offense off kilter. I'm confident that we can do something in run defense. But I'm looking for eventually today, we've got to get something in special teams, some type of big play, something in special teams that puts points on the board for us. I'm hoping one of those returns somewhere is that. I just think we've been lacking in 8 games so far on that. Let's see if we can get somebody. But I think the Chiefs come away here. Again, it's going to be a slugfest. Got to be able to run the football today, because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to go into the Raiders the week after, and they give up a lot on the ground. So you want to be able to carry this over. So look for the Chiefs to do good things, run the ball, come away with a tough win.
Guys, I'm nervous when I look at this, when I'm on my illegal online sports books and I'm trying to place proper bets. I look at this and I see the Chiefs are anywhere from a 7 to a 7.5 point favorite. Guys, this is a team that has only covered like 2 spreads in the last 2 seasons. I think about Vegas, and they've got to know something. They have not known how to pick the Chiefs in the last 2 years. I think the Chiefs lose this game. I think it's heartbreaking fashion. I think Aaron Rodgers being in here made it a 2 touchdown or more loss for this team. And I think as it is, it's instead a heartbreaking loss that drives a stake into the Chiefs' hearts and into the season going forward. That's what I feel until I see this team beat a good football team. It hasn't happened yet this year. And despite no Aaron Rodgers, this is a really good roster. And Jordan Love is a former first-round pick. Should hopefully be able to feast on him. Maybe this defense can pull it together. But I got to pick the Packers, guys. We can't go 3-0 here on the Chiefs. I got to pick the Packers. And I hope that you guys are laughing at me and scoffing at me as this game goes on. And you could just thumb your thumb at me and just say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's hope that's how it ends, right?
Clint, let's understand something. Yesterday, I happened to 3 TVs going one time. The Wake game, of course, turned out to be Carolina.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the KU State, and just watch the brutality. And then this thing in Columbia, Missouri, where they call a football team versus Georgia. So we won't even go there. So after all that pain from yesterday, can I have some sympathy from the devil today? Bring us some bring some positive vibes, buddy. Start with some tequila after you get done the show. Do something there, man. But you can't bring that energy to the field like that, bud. I mean, is your girlfriend there with you right now? I mean,
I need something. You're right. I went through the same things, man. I'm sitting here watching Missouri score 6, which actually was an accomplishment against the Georgia defense.
They covered. If you got in late on it, it was Missouri plus 40. So.
Yeah. So Missouri was the last team to cover this entire. I think Missouri, because Kansas covered against Oklahoma. I think maybe Rutgers. There's a couple teams that hadn't covered all year. Missouri gets the cover against the Georgia Bulldogs. So maybe that's a good omen, guys. Regardless, this is what we live for. These are the moments. These are the games that keep us coming back, that make us live for this thing called the National Football League. And today at Arrowhead Stadium, it's going to be a phenomenal atmosphere and just the best weather. This is what we live for here in fall. Here in Missouri, we haven't gotten all this great weather. It's been kind of a mixed bag. So here we go. 60 degrees, Chiefs Packers. Let's see what happens here, guys. Thanks for joining us here on Kingdom Kickoff. It is always a pleasure. And go Chiefs. And guys, remember, take it easy on me. I'm a fragile soul and I've been through a lot. So it's going to be okay.
Clint, is this your Sunday morning preaching? Are you going?
I'm on it today, guys.
Do we have the Clint Switzer road church out there going right now? I feel like you're on the soapbox.
What if I bring out the rattlesnakes and we really start getting crazy? Like,
I got the grill going. We'll throw them on and cook them up. That sounds good.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of an Episcopalian letting the rattlesnakes bite them to show the power of the Lord. And I might get there later, guys. We'll see how the day goes. Thank you so much for joining us on Kingdom Kickoff. You guys are the best. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And be sure to join us on our postgame show with William Jackson, the Red Zone Report. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.